You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Yeah, you ain't seen my best. Checkmate, in a game of chess. Globalists see me as a threat. Free thinking, got the world at my neck, huh? Am I paranoid? Picture Malcolm X in a room full of pigs trying not to bust a sweat. Ayy, Neil Tyson need to loosen up his vest. They probably write that man one hell of a check. Ayy, I'm over here on this side of town. Come on over here, try to clown. Ayy, I'd never pipe down if they weren't coming for me. Then they definitely coming for me now. I can't even keep my phone charged up. All the shit I'm talking, I should get my own barred up. Rappers, get off of my dick and get your own bars up. Vladimir and Liz's breath got the clone skirt, cuz whoop. Use your common sense. Why is NASA part Department of Defense? They divided up the seas into 33 degrees, feeding kids masonry. Bruh, be careful what you read. Flatline, flatline. There's no superior bloodline. Flatline, flatline. You got me once, but that died. Ayy, voice. Do I have a voice? Do I give a fuck? Do I have a choice? Joint. I roll up a joint. Keep my shooters in the game like I hate to disappoint. I see only good things on the horizon. That's probably why the horizon is always rising. Indoctrinated in a cult called science, and graduated to a club full of liars. Heliocentrism, you were the sixth victim. Fuck you and your team, you can sit on the bench with them, they nervous. But before you try to curve it, do your research on David Irving. Stalin was way worse than Hitler. That's why the POTUS gotta wear a kipper. I'm a man first for an artist. Get a lawyer, look up Dr. Richard Sauter. Bounce, flatline. You fooled us for the last time. Flatline. There's no superior bloodline.
Make sure we deal with climate change in a way that promotes jobs and growth.
So you want to find the farthest point from that center. And it turns out sea level at the equator is farther away from the center of the Earth than sea level near the pole. It has nothing to do with global warming and melting of the ice caps.
Why is that?
Because Earth, we know it spins. Once day. Three people know the day last year.
Good for row number two. They're off to a great start.
So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. Gets wider in the middle. So you spin, when you spin throughout its life, kind of even when it formed, it was spinning. Gets wider in the middle. It got a little wider at the equator than throughout its life, even when it formed. So it's not actually a sphere, and it got a little wider. It's oblate. Equator, and officially it's an oblate spheroid at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. Not only that, and officially it's an oblate. It's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator. But not only that, a little chubbier. It's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator. So it turns out the pear-shaped is a good word. It's like pear-shaped. Is so bigger. It turns out than the height of Mount Everest above sea level. Is
flatline. You fooled us for the last time. Flatline. There's no superior bloodline.
Prepare to mount!
How much higher is the tall mountain that you identify in this book, which name I forget, probably you do too, in Peru, or is it Ecuador?
Ecuador.
How much higher, if you were on top of this mountain in Ecuador, how much higher than the Mount Everest would you be?
There's a 20,000-foot mountain in Ecuador, which is right. Ecuador is like near the equator, hence Ecuador.
Oh, you're just not giving up.
And that mountain is actually, the summit of that mountain is 1 1/3 miles higher away from Earth's center than the summit of Mount Everest.
Okay. Question number 2.
But you got to know. Let me just so you understand. We've been fed a lie our entire lie. We've been fed.
It's a point of view thing.
We've been fed. Earth has been misrepresented to us by geologists. Because the globes that you buy, that you rub your fingers over, and you feel the Himalayas and you feel the Rocky Mountains. No, okay? These mountains are puny compared to the size of the Earth. You would not know they were there. If you were truly that size, some big cosmic giant lumbering through space, coming upon the Earth, rubbing your hand on it, the depth of your, what do you call these things?
Your finger.
The fingerprint mark
Mark?
The depth of that would be greater than the entire range of distance from the Marianas Trench in the bottom of the Pacific to the top of Mount Everest. Therefore, you would close your eyes, rub your finger, you would not know whether you are on ocean, valley, mountain, or hill.
Well, it might be wet or dry. It might be,
Well, by how much wet?
a little.
How? No.
Yes.
You wouldn't even notice it. You're not going to say, oh, I got to dry my hand. The depth of the ocean doesn't measure up to the depth of your fingerprint. That's my point.
Oh.
So we've been fed this misrepresentation of our own planet on the belief that, in fact, we have real surface features. But cosmically speaking, we're practically a perfect sphere.
Here's a head scratcher for you. Way back when, like 2,000 years ago or so, some people believed that the Earth was flat. But then Greek philosopher Aristotle put all that to rest and figured out that indeed, more or less, our Earth is a perfect sphere.
Yes, well, fast forward to now, where a rapper is challenging that fact on social media, and he's attracted so much attention that a prominent astrophysicist is now weighing in. They're being very vocal. Micah Says is here with us now.
Hey guys, good morning. This is something else. Rapper B.O.B., perhaps you know him for hits like Airplanes and Nothing on You. He firmly believes that the Earth is flat. He's on a Twitter mission to prove it, and he says he has photographic evidence and that we've been fooled all this time. Here's one of his tweets. Take a look. There are several of them, so this is just one of them. Basically, it says that there's evidence based on the Pythagorean theorem that in this tweet, the New York City skyline would not be visible from Harriman State Park's Bear Mountain behind a 170-foot curve, and yet in this photo, it is. So I guess in his argument here, point proven. Then there's another tweet, all right? He's saying, I'm going up against the greatest liars in history. You've been tremendously deceived. Now, all these tweets caught the attention of astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. Tyson tweeted back at the rapper, trying to explain that centuries of scientific evidence confirm that our planet is round. But B.O.B. apparently wanted none of that. Instead, he released a song called Flatline, taking aim at Tyson. Not to be upstaged here, Tyson then tweeted out some music of his own, a song in which he raps titled Flat to Fact, B.O.B. diss track. Guys.
Neil, how's B.O.B.? Are you guys gonna be friends or what?
Oh, yeah, I missed you guys the other day. We were supposed to go live.
I know. Are you guys gonna be friends or what?
Yeah, I think, as an educator, I don't blame him. I blame his science teachers.
Yeah.
I blame the educational system that created a state in which people end up thinking that way.
Yeah.
And So that's what I'm trying to improve here.
Yeah.
The state of education in the country.
Well, do you plan on working with him, maybe educating him a little bit?
Yeah, if he's open to it, but if he doesn't want to, I can't chase everybody down who's got crazy thoughts that are 4 centuries old.
Will you make a return album or a song?
No, that's my rebuttal diss. I didn't make that. My nephew, he's a rapper. So so I went to him and I said, look, what do I do here? Because I showed him the diss, and he said, we got to make a diss back at him. So he yesterday morning created this diss track.
Yeah.
And so I'm an astrophysicist.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Before your parents, your grandparents, before you even had a family line, there was the illusion, the trick, the lie, that you lived on a small spinning rock, flying through space. You thought it was true, because children don't believe in lies, and you grow up. And it was still true, because science is never wrong. Except for small things like lead gasoline, lead paint, DDT, cigarettes not causing cancer, and what the core of the Earth looks like. You know that fire burns, water is wet, drop something and it falls to the floor. We can all test these things. What shape is the world? That's not something you know, it's something you're told. To put it simply, you just have to take their word for it. And there's the real crux of the problem. The weight of their word. It's really about trust. Most of us trust science to some degree. To be fair, it has produced some modern conveniences, like air conditioning, light bulbs, and smartphones. But it also made things like atomic weapons, nerve gas, and napalm. Make no mistake, the greatest advances in science have been in different ways to kill each other. What if, after centuries of preaching the globe as a religious icon, the powers that be found out that it was actually not a sphere, but instead something much different? Would they risk unraveling 500 years of science doctrine by informing the public? Could a government still retain its authority if there were actually proof of a higher power? It's about proving the flat Earth, but more importantly, it's about disproving the globe. And that shouldn't be possible. But there are several big questions which science has a difficult time with. Why was there only one blue marble image used for 43 years? Where are the videos of the Earth rotating from space? Astronauts can't turn around in space with the camera running, not even by accident? Are the Van Allen radiation belts dangerous? Why does the Orion trial by fire video exist? Why was the space shuttle program canceled? Why does the Mars mission keep getting postponed? Why are they closing down the ISS? And why does this topic, compared to any other, conspiracy or not, make people excited, angry, or scared? Some of you are getting anxious just listening. Why? Because it's the greatest trick of all, and we all fell for it. You should be excited, because it's going to change the world. You should be angry, because you were fooled your entire life. And you should be a little scared, because this is uncharted territory. This is the Flat Earth Theory, that the world is easy to understand, more intimate, and very deliberate. It didn't just happen, it was built. And more importantly, built for you. Open your eyes.
Prepare to mount.
Science Emergency Defense Program initiated. Science Emergency Defense Program initiated.
Oh my God.
Science Emergency Defense Program initiated.
I'm trying to eat my dinner. I got your distress call. Is everything okay?
No, Neil, everything is not okay. This BS about the Earth being flat is getting out of control. Can you please help us?
All right, hold my sandwich.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Here, you take that. Here. You want to? Oh my God. Okay. Oh.
All right, listen, B.O.B., once and for all. The Earth looks flat because, one, you're not far enough away at your size. Two, your size isn't large enough relative to Earth to notice any curvature at all. It's a fundamental fact of calculus and non-Euclidean geometry. Small sections of large curved surfaces will always look flat to little creatures that crawl upon it. But this whole thing, it's just a symptom of a larger problem. There's a growing anti-intellectual strain in this country. It may be the beginning of the end of our informed democracy. Of course, in a free society, you can and should think whatever you want. And if you want to think the world is flat, go right ahead. But if you think the world is flat and you have influence over others, as would successful rappers or even presidential candidates, then being wrong becomes being harmful to the health, the wealth, and the security of our citizenry. Discovery and exploration got us out of the caves, and each generation benefits from what previous generations have learned. Isaac Newton, my man, said, if I have seen farther than others, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. I get an amen. Woo. So that's right, B.O.B. When you stand on the shoulders of those who came before, you might just see far enough to realize the Earth isn't flat. And by the way, this is called gravity. This is called
gravity pulling it down. But you know, Isaac Newton himself was not satisfied by that. Objects move because they're pushed, not pulled. So what is pushing this? Newton didn't know. So Newton simply threw his hands up and said, I don't know. So I'm going to invent something called gravitational pull.
Let's keep in mind a very important detail is that we have about 3% of the world's population, and yet we produce 24 to 25% of the carbon output. So we are the gorilla in the room if we're going to make a change. The things that the president was describing and has described in the first 4 years of his administration are the things that we know work. Converting slowly, if it has to be, to renewables, wind, solar. For a while, nuclear and even shale gas can play a big part in this. The kinds of things the president has had to do in order to sidestep a somewhat recalcitrant Congress, like raising fuel efficiency standards, these things work as well. It's a little bit like, as you say, cholesterol. We know what the solutions are. We just have to be willing to embrace them.
Are we likely to see, with these fluctuations, any further dispute among the scientific community that what we're dealing with is a result of global warming?
Well, I think of the folks who are the climate deniers as the flat earthers and the people who say the moon landings never happened. At some point, the body of scientific knowledge becomes so overwhelming that if you're denying it, you're sort of willfully excluding yourself from the big people's table where the conversations take place. And I do think that that argument that this is a hoax, that this is gender.
She's around, she's a firm, she's a fully packed, she's around like my head. She's flat like your head.
Evolutionists engage not only in drawing and modeling tricks, sometimes they commit deliberate forgeries. The most famous of these frauds is the Piltdown fossil, introduced in England in 1912 by an evolutionist named Charles Dawson. This fossil was presented as the most important transitional form between ape and man, and was displayed in museums for more than 30 years. Experts who re-examined the fossil in 1949 discovered that it was a forgery that had been produced by attaching an orangutan's jaw to a human skull. Another intermediate transitional form fabricated by evolutionists was the Nebraska Man. This was cooked up in 1922 on the basis of a single fossil tooth. The evolutionists did not neglect to give it an ostentatious Latin name, Hesperorhizopithecus harold-cooki, or to make imaginary drawings related to it. It was soon revealed that the tooth that had been the source of inspiration for Nebraska Man, in fact, belonged to a wild pig. Many other fossil skulls have been presented as great evidence for evolution, failed one by one. Neanderthal Man was advanced as evidence in 1856, dismissed in 1960. Piltdown Man was advanced as evidence in 1912, dismissed in 1953. Hesperorhizopithecus was advanced as evidence in 1922, dismissed in 1927. Zinjanthropus was advanced as evidence in 1959, dismissed in 1960. Ramapithecus was advanced as evidence in 1964, dismissed in 1979. Despite all these facts, these skulls are still presented to the public through the media and in some evolutionist textbooks as if they were scientific facts. In many countries, an important part of the society supposes that evolution is a proven fact. A great deal of this so-called evidence of evolution, much of which has been dismissed by evolutionists themselves, is still presented to school children in their textbooks, where they are depicted as the ancestors of man. In fact, the truth that the evolutionists try so hard to deny and conceal is there for all to see. Species appeared all of a sudden and perfectly on the earth. That is, they were created. The divine creator, ruling over the whole of nature, created all kinds with their unique and perfect traits.
Last time I saw you, you was brewed up, ready for a new fuck. Last time you saw me, I was PI to the motherfucking MP, what? And lately I heard you some broke bitch.
Alright, man. Flat Earth. Flat motherfucking Earth. Truth Bomb Part 3 finally fucking here. That's what we're doing now. Listen, I'm not trying, like I said before, don't be on the undefensive side. I'm not telling you, I learned the same shit. I grew up with a globe in my classroom as well. Fuck you talking about? Talking about we can't drill Antarctica. Not because of the treaty, because there's polar bears there. Shut the fuck up. Is it true? Man, it's one question. Is the world round or flat, motherfucker? Listen to your senses, motherfucker.
Meanwhile, in the hood, she driving around good. Bitch think she in Hollywood. Meantime, she setting the nigga up, telling us what the stuff. She ready to get him stuck. What? Thick eyes, but she full of surprises. I swear this bitch is shady.
Is the world round or flat?
It's round.
Yeah, and then here, Dr. Stelzner is been the father and the mother and everything in between of the landing system we've built. So.
Adam, tell us about the landing.
All right, Greg. I can't tell you too much about it. I mean, it looks good. I'm being a little flip. In short, it looked extremely clean.
Adam, tell us about the landing.
All right, Greg. I can't tell you too much about it. All right, Greg. I can't tell you too much about it. I mean, it looks good. I'm being a little flip. In short, it looked extremely clean. We touched down in conditions that were on the more benign side of our nominal expectation. By the way, I want to preface everything. This is preliminary data scooped with the sieve in the cacophony of the control room during the celebration, right? And largely by my good friend Miguel San Martin, who's somewhere out there, I hope. At any rate, very nominal, remarkably good. Our navigation error was on the low side of our expectation, which meant that we probably had a good alignment between the celestial sensors and the inertial sensors, the IMU. Our powered flight appears to have been excellent. If my good friend Ben Toma is in the house, is Ben in the house? Is Ben in the house? So it looked good, in short. Good and clean. And it looks, at least by my eyeball, that we landed in a nice, flat spot. Beautiful. Really beautiful.
What? I have to ask you, what kind of file type? Can you tell us about the image file type and compression that was used to send this very important couple of thumbnails back from Mars?
Yes, unfortunately, I absolutely cannot. If Justin Mackey is in the room, or there's a couple other people on the team who'd be able to whip that out quickly, but I couldn't tell you.
For the landing that go down to something like 5 decimal points. I just wanted to confirm with you that that you do have those sort of coordinates. And am I reading those coordinates correctly when I see that it looks as though you've landed within 500 meters of the skirt around the mountain? That, I mean, you're really very close to the mountain at the closer end in the landing ellipse, and possibly within striking distance of the phyllosilicate trench.
I can't confirm that. I can't confirm that. My estimate, I'm looking for somebody. Yes, there's somebody in the audience here who has that in the tip of their noggin.
Looking at the picture and trying to figure out from there where we are, I would imagine by tomorrow tomorrow's press conferences, they should have a better idea where it came down, within a few 100 meters at least, hopefully.
Okay, the next question's over on this side.
Was when Adam asked for OD 278, and they said, no, we only have 277. What was happening, or was it anything of significance?
No. No.
And what they bargained, that we got this mission for. This movie costed you less than $7 per American citizen. And look at the excitement that we have brought and the inspiration that we have brought.
Did you know I know you? Yeah, I know you. Last time I saw you, you was brewed up, ready for a new fuck. Last time you saw me, I was PI to the motherfucking MP, what? And lately I heard you's a broke bitch living in a lower class suburb. And lately the word is I live in the suburb and I don't fuck with birds. She used to pump on the block, sell a nigga rocks, bail a nigga out, but she tried to plot on a nigga, faking live one shot.
Let me bring it down because I got the 5-0 right behind me calling me up. I'm trying to film Truth Bomb Part 3 and I got the motherfucking pigs right behind my shit. It's all good because I got this shit whole mapped out. One love. Truth Bomb Part 3. Here it is.
More breaks for the bitch. Louis Vuitton kicks a trick. Don't suck shit. Meanwhile, in the hood, she dropped.
Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat, and 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet.
Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
But more broadly, we've got to move beyond partisan politics on this issue. I want to be clear. I am willing to work with anybody. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, Greens, anybody to combat this threat on behalf of our kids. I'm open to all sorts of new ideas, maybe better ideas, to make sure that we deal with climate change in a way that promotes jobs and growth. Nobody has a monopoly on what is a very hard problem, but I don't have much patience for anyone who denies that this challenge is real. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
What if gravity isn't real? What if the Earth is in fact flat and science has been wrong all along? It's a misconception that Christopher Columbus discovered that the Earth is round. Virtually every scholar and major religion in the West accepted Earth's rotundity since at least the time of the ancient Greeks, who, for instance, had noticed that boats disappear bottom first when sailing away, and as you walk north and south, stars pop into and out of view. The misconception that only a few hundred years ago lots and lots of people believed the Earth was flat likely began in the modern era as a sort of insult, well, your people recently thought the Earth was flat, so why should we believe you now? The smear was repeated and published so often it became accepted as historical fact. Flat earther became synonymous with anti-science. It might seem flat over short distances, but over longer ones, well, the Earth is pretty darn curvy. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge, connecting Staten Island and Brooklyn, had to be designed with Earth's roundness in mind. Its two towers, separated by 1,300 meters and perfectly vertical, are nonetheless 41 millimeters further apart at the top than at the bottom because of Earth's curvature. In the 3rd century BC, Eratosthenes measured the differences between shadows cast by poles in Syene and Alexandria to calculate, more than 2,000 years before rockets and space travel, the circumference of the entire globular Earth, with, for the time, impressive accuracy. Word got around that the Earth was a round shape after that. But in 1906, Wilbur Glenn Villava became head of a slightly bizarre religious sect that pretty much ran the city of Zion, Illinois. Voliva believed that the Earth was actually flat, and he enforced flat Earth teachings in schools in Zion. He also enforced that belief on really anyone who entered the city. Voliva believed not only that the Earth was flat, but that the sun was only a few thousand miles away from Earth, not 93 million. He also believed that the sun was only 32 miles across, not 860,000. He sounds crazy. Or does he? You see, the same phenomenon Eratosthenes measured could be explained by a flat Earth if the sun were only a few thousand miles away and 32 miles across. The math would work out the same. Today, with the power of the internet, modern-day flat earthers have picked up where Voliva left off. They have quite good explanations for any evidence you throw at them that the Earth is round. Circumnavigation is really just a flat circle path. The round shadow Earth casts on the moon during a lunar eclipse could also be made by a flat disk. Time zones are caused by a spotlight sun. And remember how gravity would be totally different on a disk-shaped planet? Well, they argue that gravity as we know it simply doesn't exist. The flat disk of Earth is merely accelerating up at 9.8 meters per second. As for all of the photos and video evidence we now have that the Earth is round thanks to space exploration, well, all of that material is completely fabricated. A hoax perpetrated by Big Globe.
Push your own communities to adopt smarter practices. Invest, divest. Remind folks there's no contradiction between a sound environment and strong economic growth. And remind everyone who represents you at every level of government that sheltering future generations against the ravages of climate change is a prerequisite for your vote. Make yourself heard on this issue. I understand the politics will be tough. The challenge we must accept will not reward us with a clear moment of victory. There's no gathering army to defeat. There's no peace treaty to sign. When President Kennedy said we'd go to the moon within the decade, we knew we'd build a spaceship and we'd meet the goal. Our progress here will be measured differently. In crises averted. In a planet preserved. But can we imagine a more worthy goal? For while we may not live to see the full realization of our ambition, we will have the satisfaction of knowing that the world we leave to our children will be better off for what we did. It makes you realize, that astronaut said all those years ago, just what you have back there on Earth. And that image in the photograph, that bright blue ball rising over the moon's surface, containing everything we hold dear, the laughter of children, a quiet sunset, all the hopes and dreams of posterity, that's what's at stake. That's what we're fighting for.
I'm afraid. X-ray Delta 1, this is Mission Control. Roger, you're 2013. Roger, you're 2013. Sorry, you fellows are having a bit of trouble. Sorry, you fellows. We are reviewing telemetric information in our mission simulator and will advise.
This is Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed. Jesus H. Christ. Houston. We're on the fucking moon. Over. We're on the fucking moon.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy that. We cannot believe that you are on the fucking moon. Repeat, cannot fucking believe it. Over. Cannot fucking believe it. Over.
The moon. For Christ's sake. The moon. For Christ's sake. The moon. Over.
You're cleared to hook up lunar equipment conveyor. To walk, fucking walk on the moon. Over. On the moon. Over.
I'm descending the ladder. I'm descending the ladder. See the Earth. See the Earth. The entire planet Earth. The entire planet Earth. Love of Christ. Love of Christ. We read you, Tranquility, over. We read you, Tranquility, over. On the bottom rung of the ladder. On the bottom rung of the ladder. Just one more step and I'm... Just one more step and I'm... Tranquility. Tranquility. Holy living fuck. Holy living. Are you fucking believing this? Over. Are you fucking believing this? We read you. Over. We read you.
I
Over.
hope the two of you are not concerned about this.
You really like it, don't you? You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a...
I fucking believe it. Over. Over.
Hadouken!
Fucking believe it. Over.
Hadouken!
You want me to knock you in the head?
Well, I want you to swear to
Get
God
away
on the
from
Bible
me.
that you walked
Get
on the
away
moon.
from me, okay?
If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Seibel, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator in NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get...
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
And get the hell out of the Black House.
Okay. Well, take your stuff and get the fuck out. Why don't you quote me and say it's bullshit?
And the shadows in the wrong place. I don't give a damn about all that shit.
You're full of shit.
Of lunar orbit being falsified.
Being falsified?
Correct. We've got an unedited tape from a source at the Johnson Space Center.
Totally nonsense.
We copy that. We cannot believe you are on the fucking moon. Repeat, we cannot fucking believe it. Over.
Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers.
If you show this publicly, you're open for a lawsuit. Okay?
Any ill effects from the Van Allen radiation belts?
No. Now, I'm not sure we went far enough out to encounter the Van Allen radiation belt. Maybe we did.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation.
Dangerous radiation.
Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. For this flight, it's time to head home.
I don't know the distance to the Van Allen radiation belt, and if we did, it wasn't a problem. If we were going to encounter it, then we would have had to build the spacecraft and the spacesuit to not give humans a problem. You don't just build something and hope it works. You study to see what the threats are, the environment is, and then you say, how thick do I have to make the metal on the spacecraft so that going through this kind of radiation or these kind of meteoroids, it won't get hurt. And then we build it that way.
The belts are 1,000 miles to 25,000 miles above the Earth.
Then we went right out through them.
No. The radiation belts surrounding Earth may be more dangerous for spacewalking astronauts than previously believed. Scientists say the phenomena known as the Van Allen belts can spawn killer electrons when the Earth's magnetic field changes. These electrons that are being studied could have an important effect, not only on satellites, which has happened in the past, but could also affect the astronauts by creating large doses of radiation that could influence their health. The electrons can penetrate through various materials, including spacesuits, and can pass through, in fact, the walls of the space station, and can create high charges deep inside of these objects.
Would you swear to on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
I'm not going to do it because I'll do it over here. I won't do it on your camera.
Well, why not?
Because it just isn't an appropriate thing to do.
Well,
but you're an asshole. You're the same guys, just different guys that did the other person I told you about.
Well, would you put your hand on, if you walked on the moon, here's the opportunity to set the record straight, to put your left hand on the Bible.
Left hand.
Raise your right hand.
Okay.
And you realize this can be used as a video deposition in the future, and if you lie, you'll be guilty of perjury.
I understand that.
Okay. Say your name.
My name is Alan Bean.
I swear to God and affirm.
I swear to God and affirm.
Under penalty of perjury.
Under penalty of perjury.
Treason.
Treason. No, not treason. Treason has nothing to do with it. Let me rephrase this and say, I've got my hand on the Bible. I went to the moon. I walked on the moon. All the other people that you think are people that NASA says went to the moon and walked on the moon go to the moon and walk on the moon.
You won't say under penalty of treason.
What's treasonous?
That's doing something fraudulent to the taxpayers.
That's crap.
Well, what
that
about
isn't treason.
Under penalty of eternal damnation?
Under penalty of eternal damnation.
And under penalty of treason?
Treason is when you sell out your country.
Well, if you used $135 billion to not go to the moon.
That's still not treason.
Now we have an update on the story that we first brought you right here on ABC2 News. NASA's top leader tried to fend off questions on Capitol Hill today following a Scripps national investigation of the agency's numerous upgrades to first and business class flights on the taxpayer dime. Mark Greenblatt has the latest on this story.
A recent Scripps News article documented what appears to be a massive overuse of premium air travel at NASA.
The chairman of a key House Appropriations Subcommittee tried to get answers from NASA's top boss about millions of dollars of first and business class upgrades the space agency reported, including more than 500 upgrades costing from $3,000 to $10,000 apiece.
The government's paying for it?
Again and again. I think it's inappropriate.
It's ridiculous.
Federal employees flying on the taxpayer dime must fly coach unless they can cite an exception to regulations. And NASA did just that for many of Bolden's upgrades, noting the trips lasted longer than 14 hours, which is the reason the agency says it allowed Bolden to upgrade to business class to fly from Beijing to Washington with another top executive, Michael O'Brien, paying more than $16,000 each. Combined, it's enough for 34 separate tickets at the going coach rate. But for months, NASA refused to provide any justification for 3 of Bolden's other upgrades.
Would you have your people just cooperate with the media?
I'm not responsible to the media. I am responsible to this committee and the American taxpayer.
But as for one of those unexplained upgrades, where NASA records show Bolden flew first class to speak to students.
And you yourself using a first class ticket to travel from D.C. to Los Angeles at a cost of $1,600.
Mr. Chairman, I would be very happy to show anyone my travel records. This is a case of I'm not sure how they got or where they got the data. I don't travel first class.
But take a look at records NASA provided us, and you'll find that Washington to LA upgrade right here. After the hearing, Bolden wouldn't answer questions.
Sir, your communications director next to you gave me this report, which has you flying for $1,600 from Washington to Los Angeles in first class. Now, can we trust anything that you're telling us or Congress, sir?
And after all that, late tonight, NASA is doing an about-face, admitting that Bolden did take that first-class trip from Washington to LA after all, with a spokesperson emailing to say that he made a, quote, inadvertent oversight during his testimony before Congress. Still no word back yet on our other unanswered questions. Mark Greenblatt for the Scripps National Bureau on Capitol Hill.
Now, Bolden testified that he gets some upgrades using frequent flyer miles, but to date, NASA has provided no proof of that. For more on this story and to see NASA's travel reports, head to our website at abc2news.com.
And then I seen them coming though, man. I'm always on point with that, just in case. You gotta keep on looking.
What do you believe in? What do you believe in? What do you believe in?
I believe whatever it is.
Okay, do you read me, Felix? Activate suit and chest pack cameras. Felix, disconnect the oxygen hose.
Roger. Good job, already.
There it is. There's the world out there. Release seatbelt. All right, stand up on the exterior step. Keep your head down, and our guardian angel will take care of you. Release the helmet tie-down strap.
Release the tree. What I can see. Sometimes you have to get up really high. How small you are. I'm going home now.